incendiary bombs were dropped on the church or in this area and they fell through the roof. So they repaired the church during the 1950s, 70 years ago at this point, giving us the one that we have around us here today. Obviously, Catholicism isn't the big thing in Cardiff or Wales, as you might imagine. It's still about 10% more or less of Cardiff, of Wales, are Catholic. So I'd say that's probably more than I would have expected. So in England and Wales as a whole, it's about 10%. So pretty similar here regarding the Cardiff diocese. But guys, regarding nationalities, I'm aware landmarks, buildings around Cardiff city centre, and we'll talk about the history, culture and the historical characters of Cardiff, and a bit of like wider Wales as well, a bit of a history of Wales, not just history of Cardiff. And we'll, like we said, we'll finish back at the church at 5 p.m, more or less. We've really only stopped here to talk about this guy because of what many of you do for a living. Obviously we all have heard of the NHS because a lot of nurses amongst us, and many of you might not be familiar with the person who discovered it or created the NHS. Now, the NHS has existed since 1948, so that's 83 years ago now, I think. And it was discovered or founded by a man named over to the west side, over to where we think of as Wales. So if you really think about it, the people who used to live in all of Wales and all of England before they talking about, and maybe, I don't know how we feel about this, maybe we could all put our masks on and family in Cardiff history, the Bute family. So they were the owners of Cardiff Castle between 1776 and 1947. Basically, they were the main people around here when Cardiff transformed from being a small town to the capital of Wales. And without their influence and their business investments, and their investments in the growth of the town, Cardiff would not have become the capital today. So very important people, and there wouldn't be a Cardiff today, at least not as the capital, without their influence as well. So we haven't mentioned, it's kind of like a mini Stonehenge or Welsh Stonehenge. It's not quite as old as that though. The circle is only 43 years old, so it's only been here since 1978, so pretty young, really. And not as old as it looks like it is. But it is here for an interesting reason anyway. It's here to symbolise a Welsh language tournament that took place in Bute Park in 1978. So Wales has a very long history of Welsh language tournaments going back to the 1100s, so 900 years ago. They take place every year in a different town or village in different parts of Wales. And they're quite a big Welsh language cultural event now. 4,000 people compete in the Welsh language in things like poetry, drama, literature and music. And 200,000 people come and watch these events across a week.
You're like a bird.
So it's seen as being the biggest poetry, drama, language festival in all of Europe today. It's called the National ʻkɑːrdɪf. ʻkɑːrdɪf is We have these 3 feathers, the ostrich feathers. That's the symbol of the Prince of Wales. It's also the symbol of the Welsh rugby team as well. The red rose is the rose of the Tudor family, usually most famous for Henry VIII, I guess. His father, Henry VII, was born in Wales, so they have a Welsh connection basically. We have a mountain goat and a seahorse kind of thing, and they represent land and sea, representing the traditional industries of the area, land being mining and sea being the bay exporting. And we have a nice little Welsh phrase here as well, ʻkɑːrdɪf goch, thuru gochwyn, which means the red dragon leads the way.
Say it again.
Goch, thuru. Thanks for the rolling of the R there. Gochwyn. Basically. Canals, railways, ports, develops Cardiff Bay, and Cardiff becomes the biggest coal port in the world. This makes the family very wealthy, especially this one, the third one, the son of the second Marquis of Bute. He lives in the second half of the 19th century, and he becomes the richest person in the whole world during his lifetime. He gives money to poor people around town, he gives money to the married couple, people write to him asking for grants, and he would give them money to go around things. He was also a Welsh speaker. The others are sometimes seen as being ruthless businessmen. They're only cared about making money. He made lots of money, but also cared about the people. Exactly, which is why he has a statue